For over 2,000 years, a massive mound in China has guarded a secret so dangerous, scientists refuse to touch it. Beneath this silent hill lies the unopened tomb of Qin Shi Huang, the ruthless ruler who unified China and built an underground kingdom unlike anything the world has ever seen. Rivers of liquid mercury, deadly booby traps, mechanical crossbows, and a world painted with stars, all sealed in total darkness since 210 BC. Modern technology confirms something terrifying. The ancient warnings might be true. So why, in 2025, can't experts open the tomb? What are they so afraid of, and what unimaginable secrets still lie hidden beneath the earth? This is not just a story about history, it's about a mystery no one dares to break. Welcome to the untold truth behind the most dangerous tomb on Earth.
The tomb that time forgot. For more than 2 millennia, a colossal burial mound in modern-day Xi'an has guarded one of history's most enigmatic secrets, the untouched tomb of Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China. Unlike the Egyptian pyramids or Mayan temples that have surrendered their mysteries to archaeologists, this tomb remains sealed, silent, and defiant. It is a doorway into the ancient world that no human has ever entered since the day it was completed in 210 BC. Surrounded by myths, warnings, and scientific evidence of danger, this burial site is more than a tomb. It is an entire underground kingdom designed to mimic the emperor's vast empire. The central chamber, still unopened, lies beneath a massive earthen pyramid, rumored to contain flowing rivers of liquid mercury, complex mechanical traps, and a brilliantly painted map of the cosmos. Despite decades of technological advancement, scientists continue to approach the site with extreme caution. The fear is not superstition. It is grounded in real concerns about preservation, toxicity, structural collapse, and ancient defense mechanisms that may still be active. Opening the tomb prematurely could irreversibly destroy priceless artifacts or unleash a deadly environment sealed for thousands of years. To this day, the mound remains untouched, protected by Chinese authorities and watched over by archaeologists who understand the significance of the decision. The tomb of China's first emperor stands as one of the last great archaeological frontiers on Earth, a sealed time capsule containing the ambitions, fears, and worldview of the ruler who unified a nation. And the question remains, should we ever dare to open it?
The rise of a ruthless young king. The story of the tomb begins long before its construction, with the birth of a young prince named Yingzheng in 259 BC. Born into the turbulent Warring States period, he entered a world defined by betrayal, shifting alliances, and endless warfare. At just 13 years old, he inherited the throne of the Qin state, a powerful kingdom, but surrounded by rivals eager to destroy it. From a young age, Yingzheng showed a fierce determination and an unusual talent for leadership. Surrounded by ambitious advisors and seasoned generals, he grew into a ruler who commanded absolute loyalty and absolute fear. He believed he was destined not just to rule Qin, but to unify all of China under one banner, one law, and one emperor. For nearly a decade, he led relentless military campaigns, crushing enemy states one by one. His armies were disciplined, technologically advanced, and ruthlessly efficient. By 221 BC, all 6 major rival kingdoms, Han, Zhao, Wei, Chu, Yan, and Qi, had fallen. For the first time in history, China became a single empire. Qin Shi Huang crowned himself Qin Shi Huang, meaning first emperor. He believed this title would set the foundation for a dynasty that would last 10,000 generations. His rise was meteoric, but it came at a cost. His rule was strict, even brutal. Dissent was crushed, books were burned, scholars executed, and the emperor's word became absolute law. But for Qin Shi Huang, unifying China was only the beginning. As his power grew, so did his fear. The fear of losing everything he had built, the fear of death itself. And this fear would eventually lead him to create the most ambitious tomb the world has ever known.
Forging the first empire of China. After unifying the warring states, Qin Shi Huang transformed China with sweeping reforms that reshaped the nation for centuries. His vision was radical. He wanted a unified country where every region followed the same laws, wrote the same characters, used the same currency, and traveled the same roads. To eliminate confusion and resistance, he replaced local rulers with officials loyal only to him. He standardized writing, creating a single script used across the empire, a critical step that allowed communication, governance, and cultural unity on an unprecedented scale. He introduced a uniform currency with round bronze coins, standardized weights and measures, and even regulated the width of cart axles so that all carts could travel smoothly on the same roads. Massive infrastructure projects followed. Roads, bridges, and canals connected distant provinces. Fortifications in the north were linked and strengthened, forming the early foundation of what would later become the Great Wall of China. Each project mobilized hundreds of thousands of workers, soldiers, laborers, and prisoners, demonstrating the sheer power the emperor commanded. But these accomplishments came with harsh methods. Heavy taxation, forced labor, and strict laws caused widespread suffering. The emperor's legalist advisors encouraged absolute obedience, and punishments for disobedience were severe. Despite the brutality, Qin Shi Huang succeeded in creating one of the most organized and powerful empires of the ancient world. Yet even with unmatched authority, something haunted him. He had conquered kingdoms, reshaped civilizations, and commanded millions, but he could not control the one thing he feared above all else: death. And that fear would drive him toward a dangerous obsession with immortality.
The emperor's obsession with immortality. As Qin Shi Huang grew older, his victories and reforms were overshadowed by a growing terror, the fear of death. He had unified China, but he believed his legacy and power would crumble if he did not find a way to live forever. This obsession with immortality became one of the defining traits of his later years. He summoned alchemists, scholars, and mystics from across the empire, demanding that they create potions or discover sacred herbs that would grant him eternal life. Tales spread of expeditions sent across the sea in search of mythical islands home to immortal beings. Many never returned. The emperor consumed strange elixirs, believing they would make him immortal. Ironically, many contained mercury, a toxic substance that slowly damages the body. The very substance he trusted may have accelerated his decline. But in his mind, he was fighting a war against time itself. His desire for control extended to the afterlife. If he could not live forever in this world, he would build an eternal kingdom in the next.
He modeled his underground mausoleum after the capital city of his empire, complete with palaces, watchtowers, halls, and an entire realm beneath the earth. This wasn't just a tomb. It was a calculated attempt to maintain power beyond death, to continue ruling as the eternal emperor. Qin Shi Huang's obsession with immortality wasn't merely personal fear. It was a reflection of his belief that the empire needed him to survive. He saw himself as the single force holding China together. And so he began planning a burial complex, larger, more advanced, and more mysterious than anything the world had ever seen.
Building a kingdom beneath the earth. The construction of Qin Shi Huang's mausoleum began when he was only 13 years old and continued for nearly 40 years. This wasn't just a burial chamber, it was an underground empire designed to mirror the world he ruled above. Over 700,000 workers were conscripted, soldiers, craftsmen, peasants, and prisoners. It was one of the largest and most ambitious construction projects in human history. The site at Mount Li was chosen for its symbolic geography: gold in the north, jade in the south, and a landscape believed to bring good fortune. Workers dug deep into the mountain's base, carving out vast chambers and hallways. Thousands of artisans created bronze chariots, jade ornaments, weapons, tools, and lifelike figurines. The mausoleum was designed like a miniature version of the Qin capital, Xinyang. There was an inner city and an outer city, massive walls, ceremonial halls, gardens, administrative buildings, and stables. Evidence shows drainage systems, underground dams, and sealed chambers built to protect the complex from flooding and decay. Every part of this underground kingdom had a purpose. The emperor wanted to continue ruling in the afterlife just as he had in life. The layout replicated the imperial structure, ensuring that servants, officials, guards, and entertainers would accompany him. Even after the emperor's death, construction continued, but it likely remained unfinished when the Qin dynasty fell to rebellion shortly after. The result was an eerie, silent city buried beneath the earth, sealed away with all its secrets intact. Today, we've uncovered only a fraction of this massive complex. Most of it remains untouched, waiting beneath the soil, including the mysterious central tomb that has never been opened.
Architecture of an underground world. Qin Shi Huang's mausoleum wasn't built as a simple burial chamber. It was a highly engineered underground metropolis designed to replicate the Qin dynasty's capital. The inner city stretched 1.5 miles, while the outer city extended nearly 4 miles around. Thick rammed earth walls divided different sections, just as the real capital had done. Inside these walls, archaeologists have found evidence of residential quarters, kitchens, storehouses, stables, ceremonial halls, and guardhouses. The enormous layout suggests that tens of thousands of clay servants, guards, and officials once stood in place, ready to serve the emperor in death. One of the most astonishing discoveries was the drainage system beneath the complex. This included underground channels and moisture barriers designed to prevent flooding, proof of highly advanced engineering for its time. Some modern scans show underground dams that could redirect water away from the central chamber. In one section of the mausoleum, bronze chariots were discovered, each containing thousands of finely crafted parts. Horses with bridles, saddles, and decorative armor stood ready to carry the emperor's spirit. In another section, archaeologists found bronze birds posed near an underground garden, suggesting a symbolic recreation of imperial parks. The entire complex was carefully oriented.
The eastern side, facing the territories of the conquered states, was heavily fortified with clay soldiers. This positioning shows that even in death, the emperor feared revenge from those he had defeated. Every detail reveals the mindset of a ruler obsessed with order, immortality, and eternal control. The underground world was not meant to be visited by the living. It was meant to serve a powerful emperor forever.
The Terracotta Army, Guardians of Eternity. In 1974, when farmers digging a well near Xi'an broke into what seemed like an ancient pit, they had no idea they were uncovering one of the greatest archaeological discoveries of all time, the Terracotta Army. Beneath the ground lay thousands of life-sized clay soldiers arranged in perfect military formation, guarding the path to the emperor's tomb. Each warrior was unique. Facial expressions, hairstyles, armor, boots, no two were the same. Some were stern, some calm, some youthful, others aged and battle-worn. The level of craftsmanship suggests they may have been modeled after real soldiers. But the army was larger than anyone imagined. Over 8,000 soldiers have been found, and many more remain buried. Alongside them stood generals, archers, spearmen, cavalrymen, and even terracotta horses. In nearby pits, archaeologists discovered acrobats, musicians, officials, dancers, stable boys, and animals, a fully developed underground society designed to accompany the emperor into the next world. Originally, all these figures were painted in bright colors. Blue, red, green, purple, and gold coated their clothing and armor. But tragically, when the figures were exposed to air, the paint cracked and vanished within hours. Early excavations unknowingly caused irreversible damage. This discovery taught archaeologists a painful lesson. Some ancient materials are too delicate for sudden exposure. That's one of the reasons the central tomb remains sealed today. The Terracotta Army is more than a burial display. It is a symbol of the emperor's power, military might, and desire for eternal protection. They are silent guardians, standing watch over a secret the world has yet to see.
The forbidden chamber at the center. At the heart of the 38-square-mile mausoleum lies a massive mound of earth. Beneath it, the sealed tomb of Qin Shi Huang. This chamber has never been opened, and everything we know about it comes from ancient texts and modern scanning technology. According to the ancient historian Sima Qian, the tomb was built as a miniature cosmic world. The ceiling was painted with stars and constellations, creating a night sky for the emperor to rest beneath. The ground was shaped like the landscape of China, with mountains, valleys, and rivers. But these rivers were not made of water. They were crafted from flowing liquid mercury. Sima Qian also described palaces filled with treasures, bronze walls, and elaborate mechanical systems. Most frightening of all, he wrote of deadly traps, crossbows rigged to fire automatically at intruders. Many historians doubted these stories until recent soil tests revealed extremely high levels of mercury around the tomb. Some samples showed concentrations dozens of times higher than normal. Ground-penetrating radar has also revealed complex structures and sealed chambers beneath the mound, but the walls are too thick for scanners to penetrate fully. To this day, no one knows what lies inside: treasures, traps, poison, or perhaps something even stranger. The central tomb is considered too dangerous, too fragile, and too historically valuable to open. It is the last untouched royal chamber of the ancient world, sealed exactly as it was more than 2 millennia ago.
Deadly traps, toxic vapors, and scientific fear. Why hasn't the tomb been opened? The answer lies in a combination of scientific concerns, ancient engineering,
and the possibility of irreversible damage. The first fear is mercury toxicity. Soil samples around the mound show mercury levels much higher than normal, exactly as Sima Qian described. If rivers of mercury still flow inside, opening the tomb could release lethal vapors into the air, endangering archaeologists and destroying sensitive artifacts. The second fear is mechanical traps. Ancient engineers were incredibly skilled. Spring-loaded crossbows, pressure-triggered mechanisms, and stone traps could still function after 2,000 years if sealed properly. No one wants to be the archaeologist who triggers a lethal mechanism built to protect the emperor's secrets. The third fear is preservation. We already know what happened when the terracotta warriors were first uncovered. Their painted surfaces vanished instantly upon exposure to air. If the tomb chamber contains textiles, paintings, scrolls, lacquerware, or wooden objects, they could disintegrate within seconds. Once destroyed, these artifacts are lost forever. The fourth fear is structural collapse. The sealed chamber has remained under pressure for over 2 millennia. Opening it incorrectly could cause cave-ins or destabilize the entire complex. Finally, there is ethical and cultural caution. The tomb is considered sacred. Chinese authorities refuse to risk harming one of the most important archaeological sites in the world. Rather than rush for discovery, they choose patience and preservation. This combination of ancient danger and modern fear has turned the tomb into a place no one dares to disturb. The greatest archaeological gamble of the future. Will the tomb of Qin Shi Huang ever be opened? Experts continue to debate this question. Some believe that within the next few decades, technology will advance enough to explore the chamber safely. Micro-robots, climate-controlled excavation tunnels, and chemical stabilization tools may one day allow us to enter without harming the artifacts. But others warn that waiting too long carries its own risks. Earthquakes, groundwater shifts, pollution, and even accidental damage from future construction could threaten the tomb. There's also the possibility that artifacts inside may decay naturally over time. To balance these risks, scientists use non-invasive technologies to study the mound. Ground-penetrating radar, 3D mapping, magnetometers, and experimental probes help researchers learn about the tomb without piercing its walls. But these tools can only reveal so much. The deeper chambers remain invisible. The question isn't just scientific, it's philosophical. Do we open a tomb the ancient emperor wanted sealed for eternity? If we do, we may uncover treasures and knowledge beyond imagination, but we also risk destroying something irreplaceable. The tomb of Qin Shi Huang is a time capsule of human ambition, power, fear, and technological brilliance. It may be the final untouched archaeological wonder of the ancient world. Whether it remains sealed or is eventually opened, it will continue to captivate humanity. For now, the emperor's secrets remain locked away beneath the earth, waiting for the future, or perhaps destined to remain hidden forever.
The tomb of China's first emperor remains sealed, silent, and untouched. Not because scientists lack curiosity, but because the dangers inside may be far greater than the world ever imagined. Rivers of mercury, ancient traps, priceless artifacts, and a perfectly preserved world could vanish the moment the chamber is opened. For now, Qin Shi Huang's secrets stay buried beneath the earth, waiting for a future brave enough or advanced enough to uncover them. Will we ever witness what lies inside, or should some mysteries remain undisturbed forever? Thank you for watching till the end. Your support means everything. If you enjoyed this deep dive into ancient history and want more powerful, mind-blowing stories like this, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement helps us bring more hidden mysteries and forgotten empires back to life. Stay curious and stay tuned.